You're watching Alaska's news source.
They were obviously in some pretty cold water, so they're going to be looking in for further evaluation.
Today on the Morning Edition, 2 people are back on dry land this morning after falling through the ice at Mendenhall Glacier. The daring response and the race to get them warm.
Plus, survival on the ice, missing for 12 hours. A plane found on frozen ground on the Kenai Peninsula. How a pilot and his 2 daughters lived to tell the story.
And later, fireworks and flames. A home in Los Angeles becomes a ticking time bomb loaded with volatile chemicals too dangerous to move. Why authorities lit the match and watched it blow as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up and joining us here on a Tuesday. Some pretty incredible rescue stories. Like, wow.
Yeah, amazing stories of survival there.
Yeah, we're at that time of the year where you certainly want to make sure that you're vigilant as you head out in the backcountry, anywhere outdoors, as we are sitting on that warmer side. And we're going to continue to see warmer conditions spreading through parts of the state. Now, we're waking up this morning, those mostly cloudy to overcast skies that have been with us through the night, acting like a blanket, keeping most of that heat trapped in at the surface. We're at 34 degrees currently here in Anchorage, with winds remaining fairly light. Now, we are still seeing some areas for inland locations with some light precipitation. That's primarily as you head out towards parts of the Susitna Valley and across parts of the Kenai as well. Through Turnagain Pass, we could see the potential for a few inches of snow accumulation. Of course, most of that already beginning to taper off this morning. But you can see where we're holding on to the cloud coverage. Warm. Where we're not seeing that cloud coverage, those temperatures are sitting in the teens, so about 10 to 15 degrees colder. You can see Golcana coming in at 19 degrees this morning. There's that unsettled weather out towards the Gulf Coast region, and you can see those light snow showers that have built inland through the overnight hours. We could still see some light flurry potential here across the Anchorage Bowl, but largely expecting the Anchorage area to remain on the drier side, and we are seeing parts of the Kenai out towards areas near the Sterling Highway, and as you head out towards Turnagain Pass, holding on to some of that light snowfall potential this morning. But if you are heading from the valley into the Anchorage Bowl, you could encounter some of that light snow, more so for locations west of the Parks Highway. That's where we're going to see that again, that better potential for some of that snow accumulation. Looking out towards Summit Lake, doesn't look like that likely that we saw any significant accumulation through the night, but we are still holding on to some of that light snowfall through the pass this morning, which could lead to some slick road conditions. Temperatures today will warm quite nicely as we are expected to see the return to some sunshine. We're going to climb into the 40s. Could even see some locations in the valley making a run into the upper 40s. I'll have more on that 7-day forecast coming up.
2 people are safe this morning after a terrifying fall through the ice near Mendenhall Glacier.
When Capital City Fire and Rescue responded, rescuers were unsure if one or both were still in the water. Now, it happened Monday afternoon. Teams raced onto the ice and confirmed one person managed to get out, but the other was still in the frigid water. Both were eventually rescued and taken to shore where ambulances were waiting.
The assistant fire chief says neither was critically injured, but warns that cold water exposure can turn dangerous fast.
So when we got here, actually, there was still one person in the water. So it was at least a good 10, 15 minutes for one of them. And the other one, it sounds like, was able to get out fairly quickly. So, but still, any amount of time in this kind of temperature, the water temperature is could be a big deal. So
he says the safe ending provides an opportunity to remind everyone about the danger of venturing out onto the ice, especially with the warm temperatures and spring's arrival.
A remarkable survival story out of the Kenai Peninsula. The NTSB says a pilot and his 2 daughters, they beat the odds after their plane went down on Tustamina Lake.
Remarkable, and it's good news.
And you can see, this picture just puts it all into perspective. A volunteer searcher snapped this photo around 10:30 Monday morning, showing the family standing on the wing of their crashed Piper PA-12, stranded on a sheet of ice nearly 12 hours after they were reported missing. State troopers say the family was reported late Sunday night, triggering that search that ended with a sighting from another pilot, Dale Eicher, who had spotted them walking on the ice. The 3 were taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
I was really shocked. I didn't expect that we would find him, and I didn't expect that we would find him alive for sure. I've done a little bit of search and rescue before, and it doesn't always turn out this well.
Investigators are now working to determine what caused the crash. The NTSB tells us their next steps include interviewing the pilot and working to recover the plane. A temporary bypass around the Ketchikan landslide is again expected to reopen around 6:30 this morning.
But schools will remain closed as the city continues to deal with the aftermath. Crews built what's called a shoe-fly bypass to move traffic around the damaged area. This week, commuters faced long backups with delays lasting up to 40 minutes in both directions. Monday was the first day drivers were allowed through, but only during short windows.
A new crack was also discovered in the road, but officials say it won't slow down plans to clear the slide or finish a second temporary lane for full access to the city.
It did necessitate the building of that second lane because they felt it would be safer to keep everyone away from that debris so they would be able to get unfettered access open as soon as possible.
The second bypass lane is expected to be complete tomorrow. Following the completion of that lane, construction in the area will proceed as normal. Schools will remain closed until the second bypass lane is open.
The gateway to nearly 90% of Alaska's incoming goods is one step closer to a major upgrade. The city says it is nearing a contract award to build the first new cargo dock at the Don Young Port of Alaska, a critical piece of the long-awaited modernization project. The work was originally slated to start this summer, but when the project went out to bid, no contractors came forward. Still, port officials say the overall timeline remains on track, with construction now expected to begin next year.
When you get all that dust on it and it gets wet, you've made concrete. And then you've got to either replace the valves or you have to do some serious maintenance on them to get them open again. So you put a bag over the top of them and you've solved the problem.
Port officials hope to announce the winning contractor by the end of the month.
Covering the interior, a critical tool in Arctic science will stay under Alaskan control. The National Science Foundation has renewed the University of Alaska Fairbanks' contract to operate the Sikuliak, a powerful ice-cutting research vessel, through 2028. The $58 million agreement ensures the ship will continue supporting ocean research across the Pacific and Arctic, a role it's played since first launching in 2014. UAF leaders say the ship remains essential for scientific discovery, but a long-standing challenge still remains. The Sikuliak doesn't have a permanent home port.
That will be increasingly needed and scrutinized by the owner. That is Seward Marine Center's dock is, and we unfortunately just learned this last week that we had a major proposal did not get funded to revitalize that dock. And so that's like $100 million. It's not cheap, the way we'd like it. But I would say absolutely top of the list is the expectation of the owner to have a facility that meets national needs. And you can't even put a crane on that dock now. It's way past its lifetime.
UAF did not have to compete with other potential operators for their contract extension.
And another story that we are following closely, Volcano Watch. So join us for a special program covering the science and the history of volcanoes and eruptions in South Central Alaska, and also how you can plan just in case Mount Spur erupts. So South Central viewers can see the program at 6:30 this Friday evening on Channel 2, and then again on Saturday at 1 p.m. on Channel 5. In Fairbanks, you can watch our volcano special Saturday at 4 p.m. on Channel 11 and at 6 p.m. on Channel 13.
We also have a new 24/7 Alaska Weather Channel. It has the latest forecasts, live radar, the current conditions, and live weather cameras from around Alaska. Find it on our website and free streaming platforms. Look for the Live tab and click on 24/7 Alaska Weather. Still ahead, a playful grizzly having some snowy fun. We head to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, where Hugo is having the time of her life.
Plus, a fresh perspective. Some young Alaskan filmmakers capture history through their own eyes, how they're becoming their own storytellers next.
Still holding on to some of that unsettled weather across South Central, with areas of the Susitna Valley seeing some light snow. I'll have what to expect through the rest of the day. But first, sunrise, 7:43 in Anchorage, 7:31 in Fairbanks. Your full forecast is next.
Deb. Welcome back, everyone, on your Tuesday. So if you've ever wondered what pure joy looks like, we'll just take a trip to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center to see Hugo, the grizzly bear.
Check her out. She may be 25 and, considered a senior in bear years, but that didn't stop her from rolling, running, and flipping around in the snow. She's living her best life and having fun while doing it.
Yeah, so Hugo was born, Hugo was found by people on snow machines on Hugo Mountain near Kotzebue. She actually had hundreds of porcupine quills embedded in her face and paws and was actually abandoned by her mother. Although she has made an incredible recovery, she cannot be released back into the wild because she does not have the necessary skills to survive on her own.
She loves catching fish in the stream, playing with her fellow brown bears, and playing with hay bales she receives for enrichment.
I could watch that video over and over. She is just living her best life.
She's acting more like a panda bear than a brown bear with all that roly-poliness.
Probably enjoying some of that springtime warmth. I mean, we've been seeing those daily highs climbing into the 30s and the upper 30s and the 40s across parts of South Central. And we'll see that once again today. Even warmer conditions expected through the valley. We're still holding on to some of those rain showers out towards southeast. Ongoing light snow showers continue as you head out towards the eastern Aleutians, 11 in McGrath, 14 below in Dead Horse. And you can still see chilly conditions from Kotzebue out to Nome, where we're seeing those temperatures sitting below zero this morning. We're still holding on to some of that unsettled weather through the Gulf of Alaska. And you can see that ridge that's out to the west. That is driving in that northerly flow that we are seeing that's impacting areas of the central Aleutians as well as the Alaska Peninsula. That is leading to some breezy conditions. That northerly flow also reinforcing those colder conditions, which is why we continue to hold on to some light snow through parts of the Aleutians. And again, that's going to be very light, but will gradually taper off throughout the remainder of today. There is that ridging that we do have out to the west, so areas of the central Aleutians actually sitting on the drier side. And while we've got a northerly flow for the eastern Aleutians, the Alaska Peninsula, as you head out towards Adak and areas west of Adak, we're seeing more in the way of a south to southwesterly flow, which is keeping things a lot warmer compared to the rest of the Aleutians. We're also going to see these temperatures remaining warm across South Central as we warm back into the low to mid 40s today. We'll call it 42 degrees in Anchorage. Some morning clouds stay with us, as well as a chance for some early morning flurries. And then throughout the afternoon hours, we will see that sunshine making a return across South Central. But you can see that unsettled weather remains for the Gulf of Alaska. We are expected to see up to about ½ an inch of rain out towards southeast, and you can see this activity for South Central, for at least coastal regions. Those will begin to gradually lighten up and taper off overnight on into our Wednesday. We'll still see some spotty to isolated activity through the day tomorrow, but you can see things beginning to trend on the quieter side as we welcome in the middle of the week. So we'll be watching for that, which will also bring the return to even more sunshine. So fairly dry for inland areas of South Central outside of coastal activity, which will lighten up here over the next couple of days. You can see southeast. We'll see those temperatures warming into the low to mid 40s. That warm weather pattern continues up to ½ an inch of rain looking likely. And then we're still holding on to some of those coastal showers across the Kenai. Low to mid 40s for you. 41 degrees in Kodiak through Prince William Sound. We'll also see those temperatures nosing their way into the lower 40s. Plenty of sunshine as you head through the Copper River Basin. 41 degrees. Still those cold mornings, though. You can see overnight lows dropping down into the teens. Areas of the Copper River Basin, that's really one of the very few locations across South Central that has seen a decent chance for some snow this winter, as well as that snowpack. So icy conditions will remain for you with that freeze-thaw pattern. Check out these temperatures through the valley today as we warm into the mid to upper 40s. We're even expected to see the potential later this week that we could see some locations making a run into the near 50 degrees. So we'll be watching for that for parts of the valley. But those overnight lows still remaining chilly, afternoon highs near 40. And for the foreseeable future, you can see not much to talk about in terms of precipitation, but this springtime warmth. Get outdoors and enjoy it. You can see a stretch of sunshine through the week.
All right, yeah, we're certainly getting there. Thanks, Aaron.
The Alaska Zoo has a new unexpected addition, a baby Tibetan yak.
The bundle of joy came as a surprise for keepers. They didn't know its mother, Iris, was even pregnant.
We've kind of gotten hands on her a little bit, like looked at her eyes and ears and things and gums. She's looking healthy. I keep saying she, but I'm not positive it's a girl.
Zookeepers believe the newborn is a girl, but have yet to confirm. They believe Iris was already pregnant when she had first arrived at the zoo in September from a yak farm in Glen Allen.
Zoo staff plan to expand the yak yard in the future to make extra room for its latest addition. So cute. An Alaskan nonprofit called Sea Stories is celebrating a new milestone.
For the first time, the youth filmmaking program has an official curriculum. It teaches students the step-by-step process of creating a documentary film. Students learn everything from writing, interview questions, to finding sources it was using last fall in Angoon.
Sea Stories traveled to the Southeast Village in October when the U.S. Navy apologized for the 1882 bombardment of Angoon. Students were given access to village elders and naval leadership.
We continuously offer teacher professional development, so there's always space for more teachers to get engaged. Like doing this work with students is very deep, very involved, takes a lot of time. We can't do all that, so we rely on our partnerships with teachers.
They have more than a dozen workshops planned in Alaska this year. Learn more about the program on alaskasnewssource.com.
You've been listening to the Alaska's News Source podcast. Subscribe to have the latest episodes delivered to your library automatically.